What happened last week, note taker?
Okay. Yeah, we're in the fucking town of Primrose. They like logs. The moon's fucking gone for a month and a half. Klaus is attacked and recovers a ripped piece of cloth. This has stuff from what I missed also. Lincoln is a cool halfling spy with poison. He likes to play cards, I guess. Even though the other guy that likes to play cards doesn't want to play cards with him, Colin. Jackson is the town mayor. Slowblade is the inn. We have a cool mug that I carved. This is all catch up. We're getting there. Let's see. Lincoln shares an interest in people watching and cards with Joseph Smoke. Lumberjack seems afraid to return to forest due to shadows in the tree line. The Greenwood is similar make to the cold forest. Found man eviscerated, hoisted up 30 feet into a tree. That was me, Alec Cool, and Reed. Ito did some cool sleuthing, talking to the mayor, which was actually pretty good. I appreciate that. Klaus made out with the barmaid and talked about his weird experience, and she ignored him the rest of the night. We buried the fucking guy that got murked. I saw a creepy roach figure in the woods. And then we were fucking super duper lost. Ito found out about a friendly village witch that seems to have disappeared, and now there's a group of not so friendly witches. Klaus did some cool thieves' camp shit that we never got to see. We took different directions in the forest. Ito and Klaus and Joseph Smoke, I believe, went off to go find the witch's house, and we all ended up going the same direction, funny enough. And then we found a bunch of bare naked ladies dancing around a fire.
Oh yeah, the bare
And they were
naked
like,
ladies.
yeah, and they were like, hey, Char's pretty cool. Don't kill us. Yeah, and then we fucking killed him. And then we went back home. There you go. That's my summary.
That's good enough. Indeed, after having found yourself in the town of Primrose and discovering that it was a town that lacked a moon, it had lacked a moon for near on a month and a half, though the people didn't seem to mind. They're mostly just people. It's not that they didn't mind, they're people trying to survive. Relatively poor people, just keeping their head down, moving from the day to day, as people do. Kind of investigated it. Learned that there was a cult of Shar. Bunch of witches dancing around topless, around a bonfire. Had performed some sort of perverse and disgusting arcane ritual by nailing people up to trees and using the blood that sort of came from them to blot out sort of moon runes, that kind of thing, in some sort of fucked up ritual. So learned about something as they were talking to you.
Yeah,
They did use things in various language and whatnot. You'd have to go back kind of far to find it. Probably in the chat, maybe.
I'm getting there. Oh yeah, I guess I should have mentioned Reed was a T-Rex and he didn't like it as much as I did.
He did not like it very much. But who knows? Abigail might have loved it.
That's true.
They spoke of the Umbral Queen. They spoke of, at least if you know Elvish, you know that they spoke of the Umbral Queen, and they spoke of the Gloom, a trial called the Gloom Sacrament. But other than that, that's sort of the, information that you got. You learned that they had gathered for the Gloom Sacrament in the hopes of, sort of ushering in her age, for the Umbral Queen to join the Moonlit King.
Don't like it.
That's sort of the important stuff that you, glanced over, but it is moderately important. Beaten up, bruised, bloodied, having pieces of your skin that have turned slightly black from the cause harm spell. You stagger back into the town of Primrose near dawn. The sun beginning to rise. You're not 100% sure the moon has returned. It was been obscured by the canopy above, but you suspect it was. as the sun's first light kisses the landscape, you can see people beginning to go about their business, their heads sort of lowered as they head to the lumber mill, which you hear beginning to whir up, the faint sawing sound off in the distance as a guy jumps into the hamster wheel and begins walking, which causes the blade to move, reciprocate up and down. You make your way back to the saw blade and find that it is packed with early morning patrons having a breakfast before they go about their daily business, their daily tasks, eating a hearty meal. You don't see Abigail and Karakwa there, however, you have no reason to think that they've been hurt at all, otherwise they would have gone over the earring, so kind of sit down and have a chance to eat and rest. Now, I know, right? The owner of the saw blade, Carlotta, comes up to you and says, "My word, you look like you've been wrung through hell."
Is she still dodging Klaus, or is she just going up to Klaus and saying that?
She's just sort of addressing the party that just walked in. However, she does stay a little bit away from Klaus.
Aren't we, like, drenched in fucking blood from the T-Rex experience?
Covered in all sorts of shit.
Shit.
Yep.
I'm supposing that you're gonna want baths.
Would be nice.
Hoping you're gonna want baths, at least.
Yeah, to say the least.
We'll have some hot water drawn up to the bathing rooms. Oh yeah, pizza. You have a chance to breathe. It's not long before she is able to come to you and start to and tell you there's 2 baths, so you can each go up 2 at a time. There's large, sort of like cast iron tubs that have been filled with steaming hot water, and you can see there's sort of buckets filled with sort of smaller buckets that are filled with water. It looks like they have sponges and things in there as well. She sort of offers you to go 2 at a time and bathe. Would y'all like to discuss anything or talk about anything, or would you just like to go and rest and bleed?
I think nap time is good for me.
Need to complete as soon as possible, then go have some tea. He needs to fucking relax.
Yeah.
You have rooms here, and she's happy to accommodate you. There's plenty of space. Despite the fact that the common room is filled, it seems to be mostly locals and people stopping by simply for a meal, and certainly not very many travelers passing through, staying for the night. So she's happy and more than able to accommodate you with soft, sort of pillow bed, down feather beds and loose down pillows and things like that. It's actually surprisingly comfortable. There's a faintly sweet smell in the air that takes you a moment to identify as the smell of sawdust. And whenever you fall into your bed, you doze off. Find yourself in a nice, peaceful dreamscape. Finally, having the opportunity to rest. Recuperate. Take a long rest.
Hooray!
Ooh.
Roll a wisdom saving throw.
Hang on. Here, do it manually. Wisdom.
Your rest is not quite so peaceful, Klaus. Within your mind, or your mind's eye, I suppose, as you try to rest, you find yourself having vivid dreams, nightmarish. You see a vast expanse of what appears to be some sort of dull, grayish, black rock. And there are all sorts of, like, cairns, almost, stacked rock cairns. As you sort of walk close to them, they mutter, they speak. Perhaps not the cairns themselves,
Wait.
but
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you say that.
seemingly in the air around them as you sort of stagger away, falling backwards. You come to, you can see many of them have stones that are eroded, rubbed, sort of smoothed by time and weathering as a ill and almost acrid wind seems to permeate the air. The sky above is pitch black, except for what appears at first you think maybe it's a moon that's in a starless sky, but it's almost like an eye that turns over, a slitted eye that rolls down to look at you as you stagger backwards. You bump into a cairn, and you can hear a voice that does sound faintly familiar, a voice you heard the night before saying, "Where am I? Where am I? What is this place? I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be in this place. Why did I come here?" And you can see the ground shakes violently, and there's a howling scream from the cairn as all of a sudden your eyes snap awake. And you feel once again the draw. This draw that's now growing stronger and stronger in you. This draw to reconnect with God.
Can I ask if it's the voice of the girl that I pinned the eye to?
It did seem that way.
Okay.
And it was the it was like I said, you could see there were cairns that had been toppled over and cairns that had been rubbed, sort of worn from weathering. This looked fairly new. Perhaps even made the night before. So, you snap awake. You do manage to get a rest. It's not the greatest rest you've ever had, but you do get the benefits of a long rest. However, keep having dreams and nightmares like that, there's a very, very real possibility that one of these nights you might fall asleep and it'll be so fitful that you can't sleep. Alright, that's all. I imagine you're like walking around like a little bit sallow-faced and gaunt.
There's absolutely fucking bloodshot eyes, bags under fucking just purple.
Somebody might notice it, but... okay, that's what you saw.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Fun times ahead.
Alright. You all sort of wake up, well rested. It's actually pretty late in the day that you would have woken up, because you returned from the forest just as dawn was rising, and as if you were sleeping roughly 8 hours or so. It's obviously quite late in the day, mid-afternoon at the very least, whenever you finally walk downstairs to find Carlotta looking a little bit bored. It seems it's after the lunch rush, and as a result, the common room is largely empty, save for a few merchants and people peddling around. The last person to stagger down is, well, you see that Ito remains upstairs, perhaps too exhausted to return. He prefers to stay in his room and take his meals there for the evening. Carlotta sort of comes down and, she says, "I spoke to your friend. It seems he's not up for, talking right now or doing anything. He thinks he needs a couple more hours of rest." My word.
Normally he won't shut up.
My word. Are you okay? as she looks at Klaus, who's like sort of gaunt-faced, sort of sunken eyes. I'll get you something nice and warm, perhaps tea.
That would be lovely, thank you.
And she goes and prepares some hot water, a large thing of tea. Like she brings a kettle to the table, a large copper kettle filled with hot water. I'm afraid you just missed lunch, but we do have some leftovers and things like that. Bread and butter and fried meats. I'll get those for you too.
Much obliged.
She is able to put out a large sort of, almost like a charcuterie spread, dried meats and breads and things like that, and some dried fruits and etc. etc. It's a fairly adequate meal, and you're able to sort of sit back and decide what do you want to do next. You are outfitted with 2 weeks of supplies. You do have the problem solved. You can begin. You're deciding where exactly you want to navigate to next and thinking about that. As you do have access to, obviously, the cartography and map book that Alec Ghoul has, and you also have access to, you know, Nipsey's traveled around, she knows some places, etc., etc., or you can ask around town, that kind of thing.
First order of business. Klaus, why do you look like shit?
I don't know what's saying it.
Let him have
It's a little
drink
cold.
first, and seeing the kettle, Reed will reach out and begin to pour soothing drinks for everyone.
Oh, well, I had a hell of a night. Nightmares are fun.
Did you say was fun or isn't or wasn't?
Not fun.
So the barmaid's not a good lay.
We never slept together.
How was Ito then?
You know, it was an attempt to lighten the mood because I had told you to go put the moves on her, but you know.
You're barking up the wrong tree there, cowboy.
What's a cowboy?
Wild West game.
We have those in Fantasy Gems.
True.
Ever seen the rodeo?
Anyway, rough night doesn't really answer my question, so.
Well, when I dispatched that cultist last night, I was graced with a vision of something called the Gloom Sacrament. Hang on, let me bring it up. I wrote it down last week.
Oh, sure.
Oh wow, it must be important. I'll let him describe it to you. I gotta pee real fast.
Alright.
I'm gonna
Are you ready
say-
for my fucking 4 lines? Of
Hi.
like 10, 15 words?
Yeah.
But, I saw the cultists murder a lumberjack who wandered out of town. And they started casting rituals and writing runes and stuff with his blood. And that blotted out the moon. And they spoke of a gloom sacrament and an umbral queen being ready for the Moonlit King. And then I saw an image of a moon elf sitting on an altar made out of dark stone.
Well, that lines up with what we saw the other day.
You wouldn't happen to have any cultist family members, would you, Luna?
Watch as I dodge this question and just get up and leave.
I will thorn up your ass back here, bitch.
I'll give you a nice passing flip the bird.
All right. What?
If there are personal, familial matters she does not wish to tell us, then I believe people are allowed their privacy.
Yeah, except when I start ripping memories from people and they're responsible for my bad night's sleep, I'm a little more inclined.
I feel like the answer's been given to you by him, by Aruna leaving. So
Here, maybe something a little more medicinal. And I'm gonna
Oh yeah, he's gonna bring
search
up.
my pack for some more healing herbs than taste ones.
You do have the
Mhm.
strange blue tea that you got previously, with the blue leaf.
Ooh, is it Breaking Bad tea?
You're unsure of that thing's properties, however.
I think we should hold on to it for now.
Damn, if I were there, I'd take some blue tea.
Turns
Just
you into
maybe
an
something a
avatar
little
character.
more.
Well, you could be here if you would answer the damn question.
Dodging it real hard. Fuck you.
Alright.
Who knows? Maybe a little bit of like sage or something would go nice.
You make a soothing tea for Klaus. I assume the conversation that happened while I went up to pee perhaps did not go so well.
Well, he mentioned.
It pretty much didn't go at all.
Yeah, he mentioned, having a vision of, someone being sacrificed and them writing up the runes and the words gloam, what was it, gloam sacrament?
The Gloom Sacrament, yeah.
Gloom sacrament and the umbral goddess. And then asked Aruna if she had any cultist family members, to which she walked up and left.
Which is totally an answer.
That seems a tad racist.
Why they gotta be cultists?
Yeah.
Calm down a little bit. Drink the tea, and they find it does calm your nerves, and the echoes of the dream sort of fade away, and soon you feel you're mostly yourself again, just a little bit tired.
Well then, if we do not have much more to discuss over today's matters, I believe I need some time to center myself after last night's
Go jack off.
debacle.
What is Aruna doing?
Reed will bow out and begin to look for a nice, grove or clearing or something.
Not too hard in considering the setting. You're able to go close to the edge of the forest and find a nice quiet area with a tree and sit down and close your eyes and meditate. Center yourself. Think of the and let the sort of
Animalistic
thoughts,
tendencies
yes,
from
let
the
the
T-Rex
T-Rex's instincts completely fade from you. Come on, Gracie. What is Aruna doing?
Okay.
You walk
So this-
out.
Yeah, this is a, I guess, technical thing. So if I have an idea of what I want to do, and I polymorph into a creature that's capable of doing what I want to do I instinctually know that's what I want to do? Do I still retain the ability, or am I, too dumb? So, if I wanted to fly somewhere specifically, could I turn into an owl and fly to that specific location? Because if not, I'm just walking. I want to go back to where the cultists were, whether that's with the aid of flight or not.
That's fine.
I think that's dependent on how intelligent the creature is.
No. Well, I will burn a polymorph slot and become a big owl, and I shall fly back to where the ritual stuff was.
Well, your
Owls are quite intelligent.
mental ability scores and sort of you still retain your personality and stuff, and there's still that drive within you. even if it's faint that you want to go here, and so you soar above the trees, enjoying the freedom of the air. Your bird spirit soars above the treetops, and you find yourself able to let yourself go for a moment and forget the night before in a bit away at least, as the treetops just sort of fly by below you. So you do come to the clearing of the sort of forest itself that this bonfire, this ritual, took place in. It's very different, sort of during the day. It's a lot less ominous, I guess you could say. The fire is little more than embers at this point, but you do see smears of darkened blood and tears of clothing, although you don't see any bodies.
Oh. Oh, shit. Okay. Are there any, like, ritual markings or runes or anything left behind? Like, etched on the ground or anything to that
Roll
effect?
a perception check.
7.
Unfortunately, you don't see anything. Seems from what you can tell, the magic wasn't in any particular runes drawn, but within the ritual casters.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess second thing I'll look for, does it look like bodies were dragged off or just into nothing, or...
You don't see where they were dragged away or anything. It looks almost as if they disappeared.
Interesting.
You can vaguely see the impressions where they lay previously. That's easy enough to find, smears of blood and whatnot, but where they should be laying, nothing there.
Okay. I don't really have any particular, like, fancy additions to anything that I would do like this, but I guess I'll do a sort of walk around and do chants or cleansing rituals, what have you, to try to get rid of the shit presence that is Shar. But
Fair enough.
just take my time and try to relax a little bit and do something that's easy and repetitive.
You make your way around the perimeter of the clearing. Your eyes closed, quietly whispering prayers to Selune, trying to drive away the presence of Shar. Trying to end the darkness that fell over this town completely, to drive out any last vestiges that might remain of the perversion. The sort of strange, natural perversion. As you slowly make your way around the circle, you hear something. Footsteps. Coming towards you. The sound of sort of brush that is quietly being pushed aside. They're not necessarily trying to hide themselves, but at the same time, you don't necessarily think they're advertising their... They do seem to move with certain deftness at the same time. You can roll a perception check, another one, to sort of see if you can discern more about it.
Nope. Natural one.
You're not sure. It sounds like multiple people, but you're unsure exactly how many. But they are coming from the northwest, or yeah, northwest.
Is that from the village direction or opposite?
It's not coming directly from the village. The village is kind of to the, it is kind of to the northwest, but it's more west-northwest than this. This is coming from almost north-northwest.
Okay.
That being said, it's, you know, who knows? You're quite a ways away from the village, so...
Okay, I guess, first thing I'll do, I'll try to Homer Simpson myself into the brush and stealth.
Roll a stealth check.
pretty good. 25 gone.
Right. Find yourself stepping behind a nearby trunk that's covered, sort of filled with dense foliage. Watch patiently as the sound of footfalls approach and closer before you see Abigail and Karakwa kind of stagger into the clearing. Both of them looking a little bit banged up. Karakwa looks like he's dead tired as he looks around, says, I think that we are heading in the right direction, Abigail. He pauses for a minute and sort of goes to the fire. Must be people here. The moon did come back last night, so maybe something happened? Do you think it had to do with that old woman? And Abigail just sort of shrugs and says, don't know. I didn't really get much of a look at her before she fled. Two nod their heads. She says, I think it's close enough. I can probably turn into a raven and scout out. I've got a bit of wild magic left in me. I can shape change at least once more, but I'm exhausted. As she takes the form of a brass raven and flies into the air and starts circling, before soaring down onto Karakwa's shoulder and going ka ka, and sort of flying off in a direction. Karakwa turns and follows.
Okay.
It seems like Abigail and Karakwa kind of ended up lost in the woods while they were out scouting, trying to watch the moon, and are just now starting to find their way back.
Yeah, I don't think Ito told me that there was like another witch originally, but I'm not 100% sure. But he's not here to confirm.
You did hear them talking of an old woman that was in the trees, but did manage to escape before they could catch up to her or catch her.
Yeah, well, I was just trying to figure out if there's a relation between that and the Ito thing, but if he didn't tell me, I don't know. So.
Who knows?
Well, boys, it was an honor serving with you all. So they came from Northwest, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How much flight time did it take me to get here?
Not too long. Not too long.
Okay.
Half an hour. Solid, pretty fast flight.
Okay. Well, I will owl again, and I will fly the direction they came from, and just take a nice cursory glance about half an hour into the opposite direction, and then fly back here before my spell runs out.
So what? You're following them back to town? It looks like they were headed back to town.
Oh, I'm going to where they came from to see if I can spot someone hiding in the forest or roaming about.
Well, you transformed into an owl, yes?
Yep.
You roll a perception check with owl advantage.
Oh, baby.
Or do you summon your find familiar Bert and make owl love?
Oh, no. I don't like this. I don't like it at all. Ability check.
Are you gonna be early?
Advantage. Wait, am I supposed to use the owls thing? Oh yeah, I should use the owls instead. I'm just dumb. Roll 1d20 plus 1. Oh, roll 2d20. That'll work. Oh, natural 20 for the owl stats.
Hey! Off in the forest, deep within its dark, tenebrous boughs, you see a single tendril of smoke. Not the smoke of a massive bonfire like you saw the night before. This is probably a campfire cooking something. It's buried within the heart of the greenwood, far, far from the town of Primrose. Maybe dozens of miles. Hard travel. And as you soar above it, you can see through the smoke a small little shack. It looks like it has a roof made of thatch, simple stone walls, circular in design. There's a small cook fire that sits outside of it, and also smoke pours from like a metal chimney stack that rises up from the side. As you soar above it, it almost seems like the house itself kind of seems to shudder a little bit as you get closer and closer, close enough to look, but then it stops and remains still.
Okay. I'm an owl, so I'm too dumb to realize what that is. Feels bad, man. I guess if I have some common sense about me, I'll go to a fairly low-hanging branch, like near the house, and just watch for a little while.
You don't have to watch for long. What appears to be an old crone opens the door, and she kind of stands there. You can see that she looks around almost as if she's trying to scan the landscape, sort of lifting her nose, smelling the air. In her hand, she holds a round crystal that she kind of holds in front of her, towards the tree line. But almost immediately, you can see she holds this crystal out, like, right towards you, and you can hear an elderly voice. Despite the fact that it sounds almost weak, it seems to permeate the entirety of this clearing and the air around there. She says, "I can sense you out there. There's no need to hide in that tree. You've passed well within my wards. Know your movements. Not going to hurt you as long as you don't try to hurt me."
Okay. So she just look like humanoid, or is she like cowled or covered?
She is wearing a large, sort of grayed cloak that's frayed. She has a wispy, sort of white hair, a sort of faintly crooked and hooked nose, and she's stooped a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'll unpolymorph and just sit on the branch, I guess. As long as I'm not gonna fall.
Huh. Moon elves are falling from the skies these days. Why have you come to my clearing? You're not causing more mischief like those other ones, are you? I sent them packing, I'll do the same damn thing to you. You're lucky your friends got out with their lives. If there hadn't been so many of them, you very well would have died.
Well, I had a bad feeling that you were going to say something involving, I guess, kin. If it's the ritualists you're concerned about, the moon and the townsfolk, we put them down.
Ah, good. I was being annoyed suffering the trespassing on my wood. I don't support their kind coming in here and disrupting my magics. It's already getting annoying enough with the humans, although they're generally a good sort. Don't take more than they really need. These elves, black-robed women, they weren't taking wood, they were using my magics, and I did not appreciate it.
I don't know if this is something I can do, but can I, like, get an idea of what kind of, like, magic user she is, just from, like, looking at her, or what she's, like, using?
Oh, sure. You can roll an Arcana check.
Oh, baby. That's pretty good, 21.
You sort of look at her, sort of like cowl. The sort of the tattered gray cloak, the eye that she's kind of holding in front of you. You suspect she's probably some sort of hag, but she's not really acting like one.
Okay, that's odd.
Maybe she's a half hag.
Man, what a time to not have Dispel Magic, but that'd probably get me in trouble. Well, I won't pry into your business if you're hiding something. It's not really my business.
I have nothing to hide from anyone.
Well, I mean, your appearance and what you can do don't really fit, if that makes sense.
What do you mean, dear girl?
Okay, different line of questioning then. So, when you say elves like me, are you specifically talking about of the moon variety or elves in general?
I've lived in the forest for longer than you've been alive, my dear. Know the difference between Eladrin and moon elves, Shadowkai, high elves, and half elves. I've seen them all in my day. All have passed through.
How long ago did these moon elves pass through?
Not elves, just elf.
Single elf. Was she... Well, was the single elf with anyone?
Oh. She was with those damn other ones. Shadowkai for the most part.
I already know I'm trespassing, but do you have any more information about the moon elf specifically, or what she looked like?
She sort of looks up at you up in the tree and says, "You can come down, my dear. I will not hurt you."
I would love to, but I'm not exactly physically capable. So I think unpolymorphing in the tree was not the smartest of ideas.
Seems a bit
But yeah, I'll try to go down.
not necessary. She sort of waves her hand, and all of a sudden the house rises up on two legs and ka-choo, 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 walks forward to you,
Okay.
and you're able to. It's close enough that you're able to step out onto a small landing.
Okay. Well, I think that's the first time I've ever seen that. Not in a storybook.
You're able to sort of
Out of
climb,
character, did we find the Baba Yaga?
possibly. You're able to
I mean-
climb onto this landing, and it's sort of slowly on its two legs lower down, and almost seems it lies flush with the ground, as if the legs tuck up inside it somehow. As the old woman comes to you. So young. So
Certainly.
well. Look like you've had the devil of a time with it this past day. You can see it etched on your face. Strife and struggle. Certainty. You bear the weight of others on your shoulders. Weight of a family. And you can see while she's doing this, she does both her eyes are closed. You can see they're stitched closed now that you're up close. But she holds the sort of crystalline eye towards you and sort of waves it up and down.
Okay. I've not seen... Have I seen Klaus's, like, eye shenanigans? Like...
You saw it the previous night.
Okay, it's not like that,
It is
right?
not like that. The eye
Okay,
does not
good.
look like it.
Yeah,
hers
she's got like a
is
crystal ball, doesn't
is
she?
more like a crystal ball, where it's faintly
Okay, I was just making
opaque.
sure. Let me see here.
Yeah, you should let me borrow that, Tommy. Get that crystal ball from her. Let me look through it with my spooky
Yeah.
eye.
God, I feel like I don't feel like I want to give this woman a gift, Colin, but I don't know what to give her. Maybe she like Beardling's Guide to no. What was that book about Warforged love, Colin?
High maintenance.
Oh, jokingly try to give her the high maintenance book and see what she does.
She takes it, and you can see she holds it in her hand, and she takes the crystal eye and just sets it on top. And there's a bowman. A bit smutty for my taste, but entertaining enough, I suppose.
Yeah, it's been a struggle to attempt to find the other volumes. I didn't know what to say upon the house moving, so I was trying to break the ice with something.
You've no need to have fear of me, Doc. I'm not
I
going
think-
to hurt you.
I think it's fear of social situations as opposed to fear of you specifically.
There's only two of us. Would you like to come inside, dear?
Hell yeah, Colin, I'm gonna go inside with this hag.
Fuck.
She sort of walks towards the door and it automatically sort of slowly opens. You can see you stand in what appears to be a like a circular room, and the room has many doors on it. It looks like there's probably 8 to 10. As she walks towards one, says, "This one leads to the sitting room. You probably don't want to pass through the others. They can be a little bit temperamental."
I'm sure they can be.
You wouldn't want to end up somewhere, well, unexpected. She even points to one door and says, "That door right there leads all the way to the city of Sigil. Some days. Some days it leads to a closet."
Do I know what the city of Sigil is?
We can roll a history check on it.
Okay.
Sorry, I know I'm late. Am I present?
No.
Okay.
17. It's not bad.
Sigil is called the City of Doors. It exists on the astral plane above a massive mountain. It's a ringed city that seems to float in the air.
Okay.
It is called the City of Doors because it's possible to walk into Sigil just by accident. And it's also possible to walk out of Sigil. It is almost like an extraplanar hub on the astral plane, where all sorts of demons, angels, all races, Ganassi, everything sort of coalesces. It's probably the largest city that exists on all the planes. It is
Colin's favorite plane.
it is dominated by a somewhat, it's perhaps a god, perhaps a demigod, perhaps a force of primal nature called the Lady of Pain.
Excellent. Okay.
So it is like Grand Central Station.
Essentially, it really is.
Grand
It's
Central Plainston.
as you can see, for the purpose of this, I have my map. I don't know if you can see the map. 'Cause it's
I think you
kinda
showed
dark.
me this before.
You can see
Yep.
it's an extraplanar hub that leads to all the different in the Outlands, that leads to all the various different basically gate towns that lead to different planes. I won't go through all of them, but some of them, like Bedlam, Excelsior, Trade Gate, Fortitude, that kind of thing, all that lead to different planes that often different gods dwell in, including likely one that leads to the plane of Selune.
Okay. Well, answer me if you want to. Why are you in the forest outside of a podunk logging town?
Because, let's just say I had a certain reputation that preceded me. I preferred to avoid.
Okay.
Wait, Connor's already gone.
He went over to another channel.
I'm afraid. I may have done things that have been misconstrued in the past. I would prefer to go somewhere small, back to my actual needs. You're not
That's
a
fair.
fool. I can see the blood coursing through your veins. I see your heart race. I know that you know what I am, even if you don't know who I am.
No, it's not exactly polite to enter someone's home and then accuse them of being certain types of creatures and/or beings.
She motions for you to sit down on a very large, overstuffed, like, chair. That's, you can see there's, like, a table in front of you that's covered in, like chintz and doilies and things like that. There's all sorts of knickknacks around the room, and it smells faintly like cat, although you don't see a cat anymore. You can see the fire almost whenever she approaches. The fire is burning low, but almost immediately it begins to burn brighter. And there's almost like a kettle that seems to appear out of nowhere over it, filled with water already. You sit quietly for a while before she pours you tea. Relaxes with you. I'm afraid my nature has been quite a bit misconstrued. Over the years, I was called, I'm not a hag. I suppose you could call me the hag.
Well, do you have a particular name that or title that isn't the hag? Because it makes me a little uncomfortable.
You can call me Baba.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, so we don't get off on the wrong foot. I saw two of my friends stumbling from the direction of your home. You wouldn't happen to have maimed a lizard folk and a warforged druid by chance?
Absolutely not maimed, but I may have turned them around a little bit.
Okay.
Pointed them in the correct direction. I'm afraid they were wandering a bit off to the north. The forest is odd like that. Even the most experienced survivalist can kind of get turned around. I suspect it has something to do with the closeness between the Greenwood and the Feywild. I myself have used it on more than one occasion to pass between. I spend most of my time on the material plane these days. Let's just say I'm not in the high standings of either the Winter the Court or the Summer Court.
Did that weird tricorner hat guy have a name that I know, Colin?
Not that you know of.
Okay.
We did learn his name though.
I couldn't remember. Also, if you want to, the tricorner hat guy, the guy that was from.
Oh,
Okay.
he was like the something king or something, wasn't he?
He was
No.
a courtesan for that guy. He's a courtesan for the Moonlit King.
And I believe he was like, man, it would be super cool if I took this herald back with me, because then the king would really like me. What do you say to a hag, Colin, that has infinite magical knowledge? How awkward.
Ask her who let the dogs out. Maybe she has an answer.
It's possible. Well,
I let the dogs out. They were chasing the cats.
that's fair. Okay. I have to go to the bathroom, Colin, and think about something to say. So if you want other people to roleplay or do something else, it'd probably be a good time.
All right. Outside the inn, it's been a little while. You've had time to rest and recuperate. Aruna has seemed to disappear, and you haven't found Karakwa or Abigail yet. They're capable of taking care of themselves, no doubt, however. If anyone's able to survive in the wild, it's probably them. The town itself, you know, if you want to travel around and do anything, ask any questions, procure any supplies, buy anything. The town itself may, considering your work within the forest, knowing the moon has probably returned, they might be willing to cough up some coin for it, or you could perhaps find jobs around town.
Well,
Carlotta, as you're sitting there, sort of debating, the common room at this point is pretty much completely empty. Like I said, you're at this you're kind of in that weird, like if you've ever worked in like kind of like retail or like food, and you know there's like this kind of lull between like 3 and 4 where it's not lunchtime, but it's not dinner time. There's not really anybody there, so the common room is basically empty. She comes and, she says, well, this is a pretty dour group. Look like you could get out and get a little bit of sunlight. If you're looking for something to do in the town, I can certainly have tasks and things like that. They all seem of rather sturdy sort, quite strong. And you look like you've had your rest. If you want to get out and perhaps undertake some sort of job, I can point you in the correct direction at the very least. We're not a rich folk, but we do have access to coins and things like that. Or, failing that, you could ask Lincoln, who always has a couple of rumors, essentially, as it is his one of the things he offers as being part of your airship.
I'm gonna go make the wood that we're getting is gonna get secured. So I'm actually gonna go talk to Nipsey first, and then I guess me and her can go and do that.
Okay.
Is there a waterway nearby? Like a river or a pond?
Is there any what?
Waterway. Like river, pond, lake.
Is there any water here? There's like a small pond, basically. There's not much of particularly running water, but there is a small upwelling that they use. And there is a well as well.
Alright, Klaus is gonna go fishing. Busting out the Brody Chill Bro.
Brody Chilbro's Guide to Extreme Angling. Right. Let's see. Mouse is fishing. Anybody else doing anything in particular?
I have a kind of a out of character metagaming statement to make. I just got Aura of Protection, so if you're within 10 feet of me when you're making a savings throw, you add +4 to it, regardless of what it is.
Is it just like a passive thing, or?
Yeah, as long as you're standing within 10
Okay.
feet of me.
I also have it,
Okay.
but oftentimes I will be on fire, and being within 10 feet of me damages you. So you might want to Zito.
Oftentimes,
Okay.
I will be on fire.
But those,
I mean, that's not relevant right now, but hey.
those
I
don't.
know.
I would say those don't stack, so.
No, yeah.
But you
I
can
just
sort of
wanted
spread
to-
out.
Make it known. Because from this point forward, Ito is probably going to be pure bard all the time.
You're so we got Alakul's gonna go talk to Nipsey. Klaus is gonna go fishing, while Aruna's doing her backstory stuff. What is anybody else doing? Or would like to do? It's not a big town, but there is stuff to do. Carlotta has offered to find you jobs, or you could go talk to Lincoln to see about rumors that are happening in the town.
So, because I kind of bounced, I think, a little prematurely yesterday. What all happened with the witches?
We killed them.
Well, no, I fucking know that, but like, after, is the room back?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. I
Yeah,
didn't know any of that. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. And Klaus had a vision in his sleep.
Do we know what Klaus's vision was of, or do I know what Klaus's vision was of?
Well, you
You
weren't
do
downstairs.
not right now
but-
because since you were gone, Colin just had you in your room.
Cool.
You stayed up in your room.
Okay.
But Rita and Aruna know.
Well, I was centering myself.
Reed
trying
can
to think
continue
of-
to center himself if he wants to.
Because the only other thing I would need to know is... Because we're pretty sure that wasn't the only body for the ritual, right?
Indeed. It seems like there was likely probably a perimeter that was set up.
Do we know if anyone had found the other bodies?
From what you've heard, not really. Nobody's been particularly forthcoming, but it seems like the type of thing they might have talked about.
Well, this sucks. Brody chill, bro disappeared from my inventory.
Well, that would definitely not
Rest
sit
in
well
peace,
with
Brady
Reed,
Children.
so... Not sure if there would be anyone who knows where the bodies might be, but I guess I will run around the perimeter and look in the treetops.
Head back that direction.
I will
Yeah,
spend the
you-
day...
Summon a
Looking for
flying
bodies.
creature.
Oh! I know what'll help me. The thing that I never fucking use. The
Wanna
the
use
dog
Onyx
figurine, the Onyx
to-
dog.
Probably a good idea to actually use that.
Oh shit! I have fucking new spells. Word.
And I'll use that to try locating these bodies.
Alright. You pull out the Onyx dog that you got so long ago,
I've used it like once before.
summon it,
So long ago.
and it sort of lifts its nose to the air as you sort of ask it to see if it can find perhaps these bodies, the smell of blood, decay, because it's been a little while that they were up there. Perhaps even magic, but it darts off deeper into the forest.
Shit. I should have first asked about the usual burial rates here. Guess these guys are getting generic burials.
They probably won't mind. After all, they are,
Praise-
in fact.
Praise Killenbor.
Alright, so we got, Alco's gonna go talk to Nipsey, Klaus is gonna go fishing, Reed's gonna go search for ritual bodies. If anybody else wants to do anything, find a job, speak up, or forever hold your peace.
I want to go talk to the. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Max.
I'm helping Reed with bodies. That way, he's not alone. He's got a buddy system.
I'm gonna go talk to the foreman. He's not a mayor, right?
That's not, yeah, he doesn't have like an official title, he's acting as a mayor.
I'm gonna go find Jackson because I remember that NPC's name for the first time in my life.
Okay. Much like I said, after your long rest, you got out of the forest around dawn and took a long rest, so you got there, you woke up around mid-afternoon, so chances are he's once again at the lumber mill doing, as head of the lumber mill would do, overseeing operations. So you can head there and talk to him.
Am I alone?
Unless somebody joins you, you are.
Yeah, I'm just nobody. Cool. Master Jackson. We spoke yesterday?
You find yourself surrounded by the sound of the manual reciprocating saw that moves up and down with the use of human power, thanks to the hamster wheels that the people sort of in hamster wheels running that cause the reciprocating saw to go up and down and up and down.
Like Mad Max.
Basically, you have to kind of raise your voice to speak over it, but he sort of looks at you
I'll be right back.
and nods his head. Yeah, I remember you. Who could forget you? Sort of a little bit fancier than the type you'd expect around this town.
I wanted to let you know, as I'm sure you've probably noticed, unless, I don't know, was it ironically a new moon last night?
No, it was actually a full moon, technically.
Ah, shit, that would have been hilarious. So, like, in case you haven't noticed, which I'm sure you have, I feel like the bulk of your concern yesterday has been alleviated.
Oh, the moon, yeah.
Less that, and more, I believe it should be at least somewhat safer to venture forth into the forest than it was
Oh,
yesterday.
you mean the... Okay, yeah, oh. Well, that's good. That means I can start sending out a night shift. And once they decide that it's probably safe, might take a couple of days, but I can probably convince them with a little extra pay.
He doesn't acknowledge the word witches. Can I see if he still seems to be not talking himself? If he's still giving me a puppet vibe?
Sure.
Let it.
Insight check.
18.
It doesn't seem like he's being magically manipulated.
Not like last time?
You're not sure he was being 100% magically manipulated so much as he was being perhaps a little bit not as forthcoming as you would want.
Got it, okay.
At this point, he actually seems to be, well, from what you've discussed with him, he's being completely forthcoming in his relief to be able to set out a night shift.
Okay. Okay. As I said, or as I'm sure you know, proceed with caution, but it seems safer, at least within that 6-mile radius that we had discussed earlier.
Well, did you kill all the witches, or just most of them, or what was there like one that was in particular was helping or hurting you, or?
I'll cough and say into the earpiece, like, we got all of them, right?
All the ones that were there.
One that we found.
All of the ones that were in the location that you described, are there more that you know of?
I mean,
There were two primaries and 3 or 4 subservient.
I was
If there's
just
more,
wondering if
speak
you...
now and we'll go back.
No, it's just I was wondering if one of them was like an older lady, or perhaps
I don't-
a bit
I don't-
hunched, or
Connor does not recall an older lady. Would he tell?
they all seemed to be vaguely elven and not older. Elves don't really age like that. They always seem ever young in a way.
Has Ito ever heard of a hag? Would he know?
Maybe on his journeys, yes.
Hog.
This older individual that you're talking about, did she have a knack for trading for things?
Well, she had a knack for, well, she would trade things, but she had a knack for helping the village, that's for sure.
And she was at this position that you brought us to? Or advised us of?
Oh, she's anywhere in the forest she wants to be, really.
Sure, but
I mean, she moves around.
But was she affiliated with the witches that we disposed of?
Oh, I don't know.
I
She was around. She was around before them, but you never can tell with witches. They might have been scouting or something.
They definitely weren't, not when we dropped in on them. I don't believe we encountered the individual you're describing.
That's good.
I would like to meet this person, though. Not to dispatch them, but to...
Oh, we never find her. She finds us.
Any idea what prompts her finding you?
A lot of times when there's troubles in the town, maybe someone's really sick. Maybe someone's really hurt. Or maybe there was a while where we had a really bad problem with there was a tree rot that was causing trouble with some of the trees. She'll come and she'll help out.
So, a person's necessity or the town's necessity?
I couldn't tell you either or at this point. A town this size, every person's so important.
But she seems benevolent.
Oh, for the most part, yeah.
Understood. Well, thank you for your information, and as I said, be careful on the night shift.
Well, you have my thanks. So what do we owe you?
Nothing.
Wow. This as benevolent as the old witch.
Not intentionally so.
You have my thanks.
And I will, I'm gonna leave. I'm actually, I want to go into the woods and see if I can beseech this person. Hang on. Is it daylight?
It is daylight currently, although it's waning daylight.
Does she appear in daylight, or does he know?
She's always appeared pretty much, whenever. We've seen her at day, we've seen her at night.
Okay.
She just comes, a lot of times she comes when people need help.
And she's an older human woman?
As far as I can tell. I've never pried too much.
Sure, but have you spoken to her?
Not extensively. Most of the time she comes in and she says, I felt that she needed help with something. And for the most part, we tell her what the problem is. She always seems to know. She never tells us what we need, but she always seems to know what we need. Acts like, she doesn't act surprised when we tell her. Comes and help her.
Does she have a name?
We called her old lady. Never told us. She said her name wasn't really important. We could just call her Crone.
Okay. Alright.
She'd come and she'd treat us and a little prick of blood, that's it. That's all the payment.
Good to know. Thank you. And I will, I'm gonna venture forth into the woods. I will say over the earpiece, hey, looks like there's still a witch about. This one seems like a good one. I feel like maybe we should speak with her. And I'll start venturing forth into the woods.
Aruna, chances are you're more than a mile away. Right?
Yeah.
Do I know that Aruna is gone?
You saw Aruna got up in a little bit of a huff, I suppose, after hearing about. You just know she's not around.
Okay.
You haven't really. Whenever you came down, she was gone. You're not quite sure where she went, but she's not around.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna venture forth. I'll make my presence known, and if anybody wants to catch up and join me, they're more than welcome to.
Now, cool. You make your way back to the as yet unnamed ship, and you can see, there's a cart outside that's laden down with boxes, and you see several of the town's workers are picking up boxes. You can see Carrington is going and helping hoist these supplies up onto the ship as Nipsey oversees. Lysanther stands nearby. He looks like he's working on mending a little bit of the netting. Yonduin is using mending on the bottom of the aircraft, the airship, to fix some of the cracked and broken boards. That's the rather rough landing sort of did a little bit of damage, but for the most part it looks completely back to normal. Nipsey sort of stands over it all, the captain overseeing her crew, saying, "Be careful with those supplies, we don't want to overturn them, those were expensive." Oh, I can't stay mad at you, Carrington. But the rest of you assholes, come on! We paid good money for these.
Nipsey, I did mention before that we may be able to pick up some extra lumber here. Did you want to come with and see, what would work best for the ship?
Oh yeah. That's probably a good idea. Mending can only go so far. Now, we've got some minor cracks and some little holes, but if we were to suffer some, really serious damage, it would take quite a bit of lumber. So I suppose we could pick up maybe I don't want to say an entire cargo hold, but at least a couple hundred pounds, probably.
Yeah, I figured that since we're in a lumber area and the like, it makes the most sense.
Well, we probably want, maybe hickory or ash, something very sturdy and strong. No? I guess we probably should head to the lumber mill.
Yep. I had mentioned before that we may be coming to see about getting some extra lumber, so they should be prepared for us.
Alright, that's a good idea. You're a good crewman, Alec Cole. Carrington, you're in charge! As he's loading up the box, he just pauses and says, "Nipsey," and continues loading the boxes. As she walks away, "You mind Carrington now?" The two of you head off towards the lumberyard, not long after Ito has departed it, and find that Jackson is there, overseeing the operations. They're milling wood down and breaking it down into planks to be shipped all across the Stallreich Empire. The large reciprocating saws moving up and down. You can see Nipsey excitedly goes to the large hamster wheels, the large wheels that people are walking in, and she says, "Wow, that's a fascinating mechanism." You can see, and she sort of examines the ropes running from pulleys, sort of around the wheel up to a pulley that's running off through various gears, causing it to move up and down with a sawing motion. She actually pulls out a sketchbook and starts sketching it. You kind of have to, draw her attention back to the fact that you're here for a reason. Right. Hickory and ash. And she sort of shoos you on as she's looking fascinated at this mechanism. And you can see that Jackson sort of raises his eyebrow. You'd be surprised to know that gnomes always seem to have that reaction to our lumber mill.
I would not be surprised to know. I've seen her around quite a few different things.
Well, you're an unusual sort. You're not a termite here to eat the wood, right? That's a joke. I'm just messing with you, son.
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
I spoke to, I don't think it was this guy, I think it was the night, I believe I spoke to the gentleman that was running the night shift, and about getting us some extra lumber for some repairs in the future on our ship.
I understand. You're looking for, yeah, I mean, he sort of motions around. If you're looking for wood, we got it. Hardwood, soft woods, expensive woods, cheaper woods. For a ship, well, you're gonna want something strong, but depending on how beautiful you want that ship to be, you might be able to settle for an offcut. Things like that, something a little cheap.
Yeah, I don't think we're too worried about prettiness right now. Huh. Well, I'm not. I don't know about Nipsey, but if she's fronting the bill, then she can buy what she wants.
The ship is beautiful how it is.
It's true.
Alright, well, what are you looking for? We got, quite a bit of ash, quite a bit of oak, got even a couple of cherry trees. So, that might be a little bit hard for us to part with. We usually craft that into fine furniture and send it off to the hoity-toities up in the capital.
I don't think we need anything fancy.
I like it. Good. Nice, strong, and firm, simple. But we do have plenty of ash, plenty of oak. The ash is a little bit more expensive than the oak, however. Depends on how much you're willing to spend.
Well,
Ipsy says, I'm not spending more than 50 gold pieces. We're a little bit strapped for cash.
I can also pitch in some if need be to make sure we get enough. How much would say 200 pounds of oak be?
He almost looks a little bit confused. We generally sell by the ton here.
I don't think our ship can hold a ton. Nipsey, I was like, do you think we can hold a ton of lumber?
Realistically or theoretically?
I want realistic answers, please.
We don't have enough room for a ton. Theoretically, sure. We're moving pretty slow, but we could support up to a ton.
I don't think we should do that. What's the most you think we could carry, Nipsey? Like, realistically carry, like, doesn't slow us down.
Maybe 300-400 pounds of wood?
Was that doable, Jackson? 300-400 pounds?
Sorry, that's a metagaming pigeon. Never mind.
Connor, you are a metagaming pigeon.
I'll tell you what. Normally we don't break up our tons, but I'm in a pretty good mood, all things considered. I've got some pretty good news as of late. So, you know what? I could go down to half a ton. So, Nipsey sort of shrugs, says, I mean, yeah, we shouldn't have much problem carrying that much. It might be a little cramped in the cargo hold and around the engine room, but, sure. Because, like I said, your ship is not a big ship.
How much would half a ton be?
A half a ton of ash or a half a ton of oak.
Well, go ahead and price for both. We'll see.
Of oak. I could do a half a ton of ash for maybe 75 gold pieces, half a ton of oak for 50.
What's our airship made out of now, Nipsey?
The airship, for the most part, is actually made of a mix of hickory scraps and oak.
Okay, well, let's do ash. Ash is a little stronger, right?
He sort of nods his head. You don't. Matt, or you can roll a. I guess you can roll a nature check technically.
Yeah. Ow, Ziggy, fuck. A nature check. Funny enough, I don't have a good nature check. Oh boy, I got a really bad nature check.
You have no clue. With that being said, he does kind of elucidate you a little bit, illuminate you a little bit. He says, the real thing, ash is a little bit harder, but better than oak. Ash doesn't splinter nearly as easily. It bends. No?
I understand. Yeah. I can cover the extra 25 gold, Nipsey, if
She nods her
if
head.
you're willing to go for the 50.
She
Sorry,
says, we can, I think I can, budget of 50? I can happily spend 50 and a half a ton of oak to tell you the or ash. Tell you the truth. What's half a ton of ash getting prossed if we were to sell it? He just kind of, Jackson looks at you and says, if you wanted to sell it somewhere like Prost, you might be able to get double the price. Sell it somewhere like the capital, maybe triple.
Well, I think we're probably going to try and lean towards going to Prost. It's good to know. We can use what we need or save what we need and sell some excess.
She nods her head. That's true. I guess we can see if we need it or not. She hoists up the coin and hands it to you. He says, and he like, you hand over your coin, you pay 25, she pays out 50. Jackson sort of looks out at the setting sun. It'll probably be delivered in the morning.
Oh, that's fine. We're not in that much of a rush.
Unfortunately, we're having a shift change in a couple hours, and the night shift generally only works on processing and felling trees. We don't do a lot of transport because people aren't awake. So probably about 6, 7 in the morning, the earliest.
Sure, that's fine.
Alright, it'll be there. I'll have my men go and help your men load it up into the decks.
Thank you.
As he sort of nods his head. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Well, I mean, probably not. I imagine Nipsey might want to spend a little time looking at the saw.
She nods her head vigorously.
But I think I'm okay.
He says, I'll do you one better, little gnome. I'll show you around. I'll show you how it works. As he motions up, there's a ladder that leads up to the gear mechanisms. As she sort of excitedly starts climbing, says, hold on now. And follows behind her and says, it's dangerous up there, that sort of thing. I'll show her around.
Sure. I'll see you later.
She doesn't say anything but nods her head and continues climbing up the ladder.
Alright, and then I go fucking chill out for a little bit.
Right. Klaus. Roll a D100.
Oh no!
Ooh, 97.
Oh shit. Oh,
I rolled a
Oh,
bar
no,
right up the
Jack.
fucking back.
Oh no!
You get to fight the mermaid queen.
oh no. That's okay. I need to bring up some statistics. I'm gonna pause real fast and look up some statistics.
I don't like.
Klaus, you find a nice out-of-the-way forest pond. It's actually quite sizable. It's more like a small lake. You can even see there's a little dock at the end of one, or on the far side of the bank, but you can find a nice sort of secluded place and cast out your line, and it doesn't happen immediately. You do wait for a while, you reel it in, cast it out, and reel it in a couple of...
Just whistling Otis Redding.
Basically. And you throw out a particularly long cast that lands in the water, and you wait, and all of a sudden you feel a tug as it is yanked away. So, fishing mechanics, go ahead and roll an athletics check.
What the fuck?
Oh, it's over here.
Alright.
And I can roll a d8 if I need to.
You can feel it getting closer and closer as you roll in maybe 20 feet of line before all of a sudden you feel another terrible tug as it tries to break away. Go ahead and give me another athletics check.
Crit.
Alright, let's see what it...
God damn.
I wish Foundry told me where I got a spell from on the spellbook page rather than the features page.
Comes from the human spirit.
Alright, crit that one.
Alright. As you continue reeling in wildly, trying to pull this whatever in, you can see the first thing. As the line gets closer and closer, you're a little bit confused because you see what appears to be like a morning star or a mace that like sort of crests out the water, except it's colored pink, and it sits upright, but then it starts flailing as all of a sudden a shell that emits dazzling colored light emerges. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Look, ladies giving out morning stars from a lake is no form of government.
Basis for a form of government. You're gonna quote Monty Python, do it right.
What was your wisdom
Got
saving?
16.
16? Alright. You've hooked a flail snail that has come up and it's got a scintillating and shining shell. And more importantly, it seems angry and aggressive at this point now that it's been pulled from the bottom of the lake. Go ahead and just grab your PC token.
Swing over here. Oh, you roll? Did you roll my initiative, or did it roll it twice for me?
No. Or I didn't roll your initiative.
Huh. I guess it rolled twice? Interesting.
Alright. You do manage to sort of avoid the sort of scintillating energy of the flail snail, but however it is upon you. You get to go first.
Alright, I'm gonna walk up to it. I'm going to spend my sorcery points. I believe it is 2. I can bring up the feature, actually, I'm gonna read it. Okay, it's 2, yeah, okay, so I'm gonna spend 2 sorcery points to cast Darkness.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Come to talk with you again. Does the vision softly creeping? Seems while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sight of darkness.
Bravo.
Bravo.
Colin, I'm not gonna lie, I would listen to you actually performing that song. Good song.
What did you, what was that? You cast darkness on yourself?
Yeah, I spent 2 sorcery points to cast Darkness on myself so I can see through it. And I'm going to use my bonus action to make a Psychic Blade attack.
Alright.
Which I believe has advantage, right?
Actually, you find that the flail snail is every bit as aware as if there was no darkness at all.
Dang.
Snails don't have eyes, my dude.
They have. I will go ahead and tell you, flail snails have tremor sense, so they can sense as long as you're on the ground. They can sense you.
Don't tell us that. Stop.
Well, I need to know him to know why his magical darkness is not working.
Fuck him off.
Still nonetheless.
Yeah, but you could have told him that he can, like, he has a way to, like, see you without seeing you.
Well, he does.
That is literally
That
tremor.
is literally tremor sense.
I know, but it would be, like, now he can be like, you know, I can do this, so he doesn't know where I am. Like, fly or something.
Is he gonna start spending spell slots on killing a relatively minor monster? Who knows?
Well, I did spend 2 sorcery points on essentially nothing, so fuck it.
Unfortunately, a 13 slams into the shell of the monster and just bounces right off. It is unfortunate, but they're surprisingly hardy creatures. As you stare it down, luckily, one of the bonuses of this is that actually the scintillating shell has very little effect on you from within the magical darkness. It still sends out flailing tendrils as its sort of flails are going to hit you. That's the wrong one. It's a 21 versus armor class.
I'm gonna cast shield.
Probably not a bad idea. Gonna be a miss. It's gonna be a miss. It's gonna be a miss. I assume.
Yep, I'm at 22 right now.
Alright. 5 misses, but 5 tentacle attacks go out at you.
Jesus.
It goes immediately to your turn.
Alright, I'm thinking outside the box here. I don't know if this is gonna work. I just got the spell, so I gotta make it sparkle and shine. I'm gonna try and confuse it. Well, no, actually, no, I don't know if it has tremor sense. Never mind, I can't do that. That's metagaming as shit. I shouldn't do that. I was gonna try and confuse it with mold earth. Give it like sensory overload. I will. I'm gonna cast Ray of Sickness on it.
Okay.
At first level. Actually, it's a ranged spell, so I should probably back up for a strike. Yeah, I'm gonna bonus action disengage. It's about 10 feet.
It's a saving throw. Fine.
It is,
Is it an attack roll?
oh, for fuck's sake. Well, not if I miss.
Okay. I need you to roll a d6.
Three.
You can actually see it hits the shell and it almost dissipates. Almost as it's absorbed into it and dispelled. As it continues to sort of slowly walk forward, slither forward towards you.
Interesting little bastard.
It immediately gets up onto you. Say, how far did you move away from the thing?
Just 10 feet.
Okay. It's gonna
You
sort
should still
of
be in the darkness.
come up and begin attacking you with its
Yeah.
tentacles. One.
See what its range is. I'll put that thing on the map.
It's a 19. Because at this point your shield spell
that
has
hit.
ended. Okay.
Yeah.
It's one hit. It's gonna be a 21. It's 2 hits.
Another hit.
A miss. 15, I imagine it's gonna miss. So 2 hits.
Yep.
2 instances of damage. Take 5 and you take 14 points of damage.
Can I uncanny dodge the 9? Make that a 5, so that'll be 10 total.
Sure.
Keep that there.
And it continues slowly slithering towards you.
We were back getting beer.
I'm gonna move back around in the darkness. Don't have anything interesting in my inventory that might help. Fuck it. $23 to hit.
Hey, that'll
Great
hit.
play. 5 points of damage. Man, that min damage. And I'll just whack it twice.
Right.
25 to hit.
Hey, that'll hit.
8 points. Hey, there we go.
You manage to sever one of its tentacles. It sort of falls down to the ground in the darkness. Okay.
Alright, that's my turn.
Was Klaus actually
Make it.
fucked by the snail?
Klaus, make an athletics check.
Not yet.
Crit.
As it's you're still trying to maintain this flail snail on the line as it's sort of moving about. It's going to move towards you and attack once. And this a 23.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Miss. Miss. Only one hit. 4 points of damage. However, it has moved backwards and is now sort of slinking back into the lake, pulling at the line. This is at the edge of the lake, trying to escape.
I'm gonna use an action. I'm gonna reel his ass back in. Athletics.
Yes.
$11, and I can add a +8 if I need to, or a D8.
He got a 15, a 21.
All right, so I got a 19. Damn.
He does manage to get a little bit into the lake. He does not break the line or completely escape, but he does get a little bit of distance on you as he's sort of slowly pulling towards the lake.
I'm going to use a bonus action. I'm going to throw a psychic dagger at him.
God, real life fishing has never been this interesting.
27.
Alright, that does manage to hit.
You've obviously never played 1998 Magnum Opus Pro Bass Fisher.
Right. You manage to toss out a psychic blade that chops off the top of another flail as it goes falling to the ground. It's going to continue to struggle to pull away from the water from you, to retreat back into the water and break the line. Critical fail, so it's technically, well, there's not a critical fail, but it's only a 7. You have to beat a 7.
19.
It's unable to advance further, as he's going to turn and make two, he's going to, keep pulling, essentially, yanking farther and trying to yank farther into the water, but he does not make any attacks. He merely tries to use his actions to try to escape. Obviously, it goes to your turn.
I'm going to try and pull him back again. That's an 18.
That is a 14 plus 6, 20.
I'm gonna D8 that. Wow!
Wow, it still manages to beat you.
Unfortunate.
Rip.
Alright. Bonus action, Brain Dagger. 24 to hit.
It does hit.
6 points of damage.
Alright. At this point, it's sort of a stalemate as it's trying to escape. It's kind of stopped attacking you and is trying exclusively to get away at this point. So it's going to toss everything it can into getting out. Keeps rolling real fucking shit. Like over and over again, they've got a pretty good bonus to get away, and they continue rolling 4. All right, that's all they're doing is trying to escape at this point.
Reeling them in. That's a crit.
All right, hey, you managed to reel it back into the shore line.
Yay! Brain knife, bitch. That's a 1.
All right. It is going to turn and make flail attacks against you now that you've reeled it back in.
He's down to 2 now, right?
He's technically down. He's still got 3 because he had 5.
Okay.
Chopped off 2. It'll be a miss. It'll be a crit. You take 9 points of damage and make a wisdom saving throw for me.
I'm gonna uncanny dodge that and take 5. No. Is that wisdom?
Yep.
Oh no.
Alright.
Okay.
You're surprised, actually, as you almost stagger away. You're not stunned, but the light from the shell bursts the magical darkness away.
Sorry. Basically.
And then it's going to make its 3rd attack. It's only going to be a 10. Your magical...
Oh wait, Was that wisdom for concentration?
No.
Oh, okay. That's
It was essentially a wisdom check to see with how you dealt with the stunning strike of it.
okay.
Alright. The darkness has faded. It's not been able to hit, but it has dealt another 9 points of damage to you. It's your turn,
Five.
however. It's pretty beat up. There's large chunks of its shell that are missing. It's missing 2 of its tentacles.
I'm just going to use my action to attack it. Nope. That was a 10.
Strikes the shell.
2. Use my bonus action to do the same thing. Oh my god, now he wants to roll low.
2 dagger strikes on the hardened shell of the flail snail. As it turns, it's going to try to escape on its turn. Yeah, 18 plus 6, 24.
Ooh. Ooh, I'm gonna D8 that one. Oh my dear lord.
It begins making its way, pulling the line down into the water as it's halfway in the water already. It goes to your turn.
Yanking him in. 12. 14.
It's gonna be a 9 plus 6,
Oh.
15.
Oh my dear fucking god.
You make no progress on reeling him in, unfortunately.
19 to hit.
That will hit.
8 points of damage.
Right. He's running low on flails, but he continues to fight and try to escape. Now seeing perhaps the chance at freedom as he's hopefully able to break this line. You can feel one powerful tug, one final exertion. As you can tell, this flail snail is terribly beat up. Barely standing at this point, tired from the struggle. He uses all his energy to surge forward, trying to break the line. Only gonna be an 8.
14.
Right. However, you're able to hold fast and it makes no progress. Still about halfway out to the lake. Beat up.
Alright, let's try this again. Reel him in.
You got him this time, 12, as you reel him back to shore.
Nice. Bonus action. Psychic Blade. 14. Probably does not hit.
Does not hit. It's going to immediately turn and attack you with its remaining tentacles. Not very many. It's only going to be a 15 and a 17.
That ties.
Alright, well. So the 17 hits. Take 4 points of bludgeoning damage from the flail snail. But at this point it's exhausted and is sort of breathlessly trying to build up its energy again as it goes to you.
Alright, so he's made no progress, or I've reeled him back in.
You've reeled him back in.
Okay. I'm going to... I'm going to bonus action attack him first. 21 to hit.
That'll hit.
7 points of damage. And I'm going to use an athletics check. I'm going to try and pull him in, like, much closer.
Okay.
18.
Yeah, 19.
D8. Finally.
You manage to slowly yank him backwards. Sort of pulling him even closer to the shore. Or not even closer to the shore, like farther away from the shore, getting him away from the pond. As it struggles, it's going to turn and it's going to make one last flail attack at you. We're going to be a 14 plus 5, a 19 versus armor class.
That's a hit.
Right. Actually, 6. Take 5 points of damage, and as it gets farther away, it actually slurps up into its shell, and so there's now just a shell that is on the ground.
I'm gonna grab the shell and I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna toss it against the nearest tree.
Okay.
Is that a D20 plus anything?
Would that be an athletics check to lift the shell? I mean, these are not
Oh, okay.
small creatures.
19 athletics, holy shit.
You are able to vaguely, like, heft it, but it's not much of a throw. It just kind of hits the tree with a thud, tumbles to the side. You've managed to toss about maybe 10-15 feet. Not a terribly long distance into the tree as it sort of stumbles away.
But it's further ashore. It's bucket.
It remains completely buried in its shell.
Well, I'm going to... That was a bonus action target. 27.
Do manage to hit, even despite the fact that it's in its shell. It's been slightly overturned by throwing it into the tree, and so you can see a little bit of its fleshy underbelly just revealed.
6 points of damage.
Right. The bloodied and beaten snail slowly emerges from its shell, and it sort of slowly makes its way towards the pond, but at this point it's thoroughly defeated. As you sort of carefully reel it backwards, it makes one pitiful attack against you, left with only a single flailing tentacle. It's only going to be a 16, however.
That's a miss.
As you reel it back in, and deliver a final blow to it.
Ill.
Pretty good. You managed to drive it straight into the gut of the flail snail as it sort of shudders and it kicks a couple of times. Its remaining flail sort of moves around wildly and then it falls limp.
Whew. God, fishing is supposed to be easier than this. It's supposed to be relaxing. I'm going to collect the snail.
Alright.
What is its shell made of? Seems...
The shell itself. Make a nature check for it.
Oh boy, I'm not proficient and I have a +0. 12.
Ooh. The shell itself has various anti-magic properties, if it can be harvested and crafted, and there's of course a certain, pretty significant cost that comes with it, but that being said, the intact shell of a flail snail can be extremely valuable, if you are able to obviously successfully extract it without damaging it from the corpse of the flail snail.
Excellent.
That being said, the shell alone weighs about 250 pounds.
Jesus Christ. I'm just gonna roll that bitch on this shit. Just wheel it like a fucking wheel of cheese.
Okay.
That's right, man. You roll your cheese.
I bet a dead snail smells like cheese.
Doubt.
Uh,
I didn't say good cheese.
the proper, you can ask a little bit more about the exact specific properties of a flail snail's shell, but they can be extremely valuable if carefully carefully removed and processed. However, unfortunately, even the slight amounts of damage to it can significantly decrease the value of it. You probably have to, like, take some ropes and lash it around and drag it back to the freaking ship. Like I said, with the shell alone is 250 pounds, the flail snail is a large beast, so that probably adds another solid maybe 50 to 100 pounds on top of that.
Damn.
It is not.
And Miles has a 9 strength, so he's really taking his time with this.
It is not an easy withdrawal. Even so, it's also not a long withdrawal. You weren't terribly far from the ship. You're just within the wood line at a fairly sizable pond. Even so, it's still unless you seek help, it will probably take you a couple hours of work. Meanwhile, Aruna.
It's me.
Been sitting quietly with Baba, the old hag. He's been fairly kind to you, as far as you can tell. Not made any sort of strange ulterior motives like you may expect. My word, dear girl. Got such a long face. This quiet could, upset the dead. Why don't you tell old Baba what's on your mind?
Well, guess we're going to cut to the chase. You
I
said
prefer cutting to the chase. Pleasantries, well, I do try to observe them, I suppose, but an old woman. I'm older than I look. Surprisingly.
Indeed. You said these woods were connected to the Feywild, correct?
Oh, yes. One of a few such places in this world.
What would it take for me to get there?
Well... Can perform certain rituals. The ability to planar shift is actually see-through. I could teach you.
Okay. Interesting. Well, not to presume, but what would it cost me?
Very little, my dear. Within this particular grove where the Feywild is so thin, plane shift spell, or you can plane shift much easier than you would elsewhere. However, its destination is rather limited. I ask nothing but a drop of your blood, my dear. sign of good faith.
Not a good faith. God. I'll try, Colin. Can I get any funny business out of this conversation, or should I be deeply concerned about the blood?
Roll an insight check.
Yep. Okay. That's, like, pretty decent at that. Hopefully. Because I know what she is, but... Yeah, that's not good. 9.
You, feel like she's been very kindly to you.
Mm-hmm. No, the flail.
She could be both.
But she's been very kind of you, and it's a fairly simple ask. It's a little bit of blood.
Okay. I'm committing, Colin. Full tilt. I'll pull out my own little baby dagger, and however she wants me to give her this blood, I'll do it.
She sort of reaches in her shawl and pulls out a vial. You hear the faint clanking sound as the glassware as she pulls one out, seemingly out of nowhere, and she sort of holds it up to the palm of your hand as you slice it, and she fills the vial. You can see it sort of glows slightly as the blood touches it. She pulls it away and corks it, takes it, puts it back into her robe with a little bit of a wry smile. Very good. The deal has been struck.
Excellent.
Within, she sort of pulls out she goes to her wall, a large bookcase, and she pulls out a tome and begins flipping through it. Plane shift, plane. Ah, yes. She walks into it and she shows you the plane shift spell. A spell that's outside of your current casting capabilities normally.
Mm-hmm. Normally.
But within the Greenwood, where things are between the Feywild are particularly thin with the material plane. It use a 5th level spell.
Okay.
Shift into the Feywild. You can't shift anywhere else. But
Okay.
you can shift into the Feywild.
So presumably weak places like the inn we stayed in also it would work?
Yes.
More easily? Okay.
There are a few places that this is possible. One of them would also be the Coldwood, which is also thin.
Okay. So I'm not sure how travel works in the Feywild, but could I presumably travel to the Coldwood also?
Theoretically, yes. It is a mirrored plane, although distances and time are different. They can be stretched or they can be compacted.
Phenomenal. Shit. Well, she said she doesn't care about pleasantries. So... Well, Baba, it has been an enlightening experience, but unfortunately I think I've put 2 and 2 together myself, so I don't exactly have too much to ask of you, except...
What do you mean, 2 and 2 together?
Well, I think the girl you saw is someone I left behind.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thought you meant something other than that.
Not quite. Okay. Well, I'm fucking peacing out.
Your sister, yes?
Presumably, at this point. But that's why I was so quick to strike the deal, because I've run away from a lot of things, and come hell or high water, if I have to kill every last goddamn bastard in the Feywild, I will.
It's a hell of a task. What if I could offer you more?
Well, that's a question of cost, once again.
Ask very little. Little bit of blood. Such a simple task for such a simple thing, for something as powerful as being able to move through to the Feywild for a relatively limited cost. Could offer you more. Cost would be at least. You're willing to pay it.
Do you have a specific example of what you're offering?
All I ask for is a bit of your heart. It will be quite painless, I assure you.
What does a bit of heart do for me?
I've played Kingdom Hearts. This is not a good idea.
Mm.
If you take a bit of heart, if she takes a bit of heart, essentially you can, without needing any of the requirements, switch one of your wizard levels to a warlock.
Whoa!
Without having to have the charisma requirement. You would be a warlock of the Archfey.
Shit.
That's cool.
But it's sorry, it's your choice.
That's cool.
I'm done.
I can offer you such power.
Shit. So I know she's like...
I feel like perhaps this should be a private moment. Maybe.
As long as you're quiet, don't metagame. It's probably. Or if it is upsetting,
Tired metagame is great.
you can remove yourself to a different chat room or different level of place if you want.
I'll be good.
So, I mean, every bit of this conversation, it doesn't seem malicious.
No, she's not seemed malicious, and you're not
Well,
entirely
yeah,
sure
seemed.
she is.
That's
She herself said that she feels like her reputation may precede her, and she's not. And she has helped these people. She doesn't necessarily seem neat as bad as she could. But Aruna doesn't know she's also been collecting blood from.
Tommy, do you need time to think? I asked because I was curious as to how Ito's endeavor was going.
Warlock level, huh? Pact of the Archfey. Okay, so is it just strictly mechanical? It is just a warlock level, or am I gonna get some like cool hag bullshit, Colin?
You're not sure.
Oh, no, sure, excellent. Shit. Well, as far as I'm concerned, everyone's turned their back on Selene, and other than minor protection, she does not seem to be intervening.
Shit.
So we're going full tilt. I'll do it.
Damn! Turn on your god!
I'm just saying, take matters into my own hand if she can't intervene, and if that's what it's gonna take, that's what it's gonna take.
Aruna takes the Catholic approach. If my god didn't want me to do this, they'd fucking strike me down right now.
Shit. A surprise. All right.
I'm going to fucking war, Colin.
It's done.
So no pain, anything to that effect, huh?
Not right now.
Not right now.
Hell yeah. Do I
Already
feel
went
different?
No.
Okay.
Surprising enough, you feel the same.
Nice. Okay. Baba, now that we've made this impromptu decision, how do I find you again?
I'll be watching, Mike. There's no need to find me. If we need to talk, I'll find you, much as I did with the villagers. I have a way
if
of
you're... Sorry.
finding people in.
Fair enough. Well, if you're ever looking for a little revenge on the Shar worshippers too, I wouldn't mind a little bit of assistance, possibly.
You're already offering it by taking the deep call, as I said.
Fair enough.
A couple of them I could have dealt with. The whole group became a nuisance.
Alright, guess my business is adjourned, and I will, I don't know. She doesn't seem like she wants worship or anything, so I'll just fucking politely leave.
Okay. She smiles and waves a bony hand at you as you turn. You walk away.
Time to figure this shit out.
It's a sort of a dark moment as you turn and you can see as you step out of the out of this room of circular doors and onto the veranda and out into the forest. You're surprised. Doesn't look like any time passed at all while you were inside the hut.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of, the hut itself sort of slowly rises up on its haunched legs. Takes one step, 2 steps, and just walks away. Ito, the sound of... You've been sort of in the forest looking for perhaps this witch, and so far, you can roll a survival check if you want, but things have not been going... Looks like a forest.
Not to be too look at me, I'm a magical special person kind of deal with it, but I feel like Ito would go into that situation knowing he's not a good tracker and would be making like maybe an Arcana check to look for shit, like specifically looking for things out of the ordinary, not necessarily tracks and shit.
You can roll an Arcana check of some sort. Being said, it's a magical it's a fairly magical forest. There's lots of magical things.
As an 8.
Kind of wander a bit. You're heading vaguely in a direction, but you can't even see the sun for the most part beneath the canopy of the trees. The same trees that were so dense that you could barely see you couldn't see the moon or the stars, or nobody could see the moon or the stars the night before. You, however, are drawn to a direction. You hear loud thuds, thud, 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 going off to the roughly the kind of north-ish. It's about north. And turn and sort of head in that direction. Eventually coming to a...
Are they at regular intervals?
Regular intervals, yes.
Okay.
You sort of move towards it, but you can hear it growing distant. Unfortunately, despite your pace, it seems to be moving faster than you are. And... as it sort of... But even as it grows more distant, you kind of head in that direction, and eventually do find a clearing where you kind of see, like, Aruna just standing there, a little bit slack-jawed.
when you say slackjaw, do you mean like does she appear in a trance?
I don't know, you'd have to ask her. He vaguely does appear, glazed eyes, faintly. And Aruna, you can still hear Baba Yaga in your head.
Great.
Oh shit, it's actually Baba Yaga. Fuck yeah. Sick.
Her archfey essence, every now and then a faint crackle, says, "Carve a mask in my visage and wear it."
Fuck, that's cool.
That's horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
This game is taking a weird turn.
Aruna. I'll walk up and she does.
That sounds like something Joseph Smoke would want to kill.
Shut the fuck
Joseph
up, Max.
Smoke ain't here.
Joseph Smoke has been following behind a little bit of weight.
Assuming that Aruna doesn't acknowledge my approach, I'd walk up and kind of like lightly slap her across the face. Just like a...
Meanwhile, Reed and Aruna.
Time to use the bathroom.
Or Reed and Joseph Smoke. The dog itself has... It leads you to a body that is hanging up on a tree. Same ritual, same everything. Suspended body that has been nailed to the tree, its blood sort of covering what appears to be a moon rune. This one is actually not the same rune, it actually appears to be a crescent moon, but it is nonetheless still blocked out, the blood.
Oh, shit. For each phase of the moon, that's kind of neat.
You are able to put them down, pay them proper respect. Dog has pretty much unerringly led you to this body. It was able to sort of smell the blood and the decay, so that you didn't have to roll any real checks for it, because it was a good idea. However,
I would also like to take down the rune itself and put it away.
it's carved into a tree. It's carved into the trunk of the tree.
Okay, it's carved. Okay, never mind then.
You offer your solemn regards and pray to Kelimvor for this unfortunate soul. Just looking at him, it looks like it was likely one of the lumberjacks. Probably one of the reasons why they were so afraid to go out at night, as people were kind of disappearing. He's probably been dead for a while, honestly. Maybe a month. It's not a pleasant job bringing his body down, but it's a job that you handle solemnly. Give him a far better burial than being stuck up on the tree. But you notice the dog is acting weird. The Onyx dog actually sort of... You feel it pressing up against you, Reed, and you can see it shivers slightly. Its black hackles raised as it sort of whimpers, and off in the distance you hear thud, thud, thud. The sound of very rhythmic footfalls, massive.
Alright, well, it never hurts to check these things out. And Reed is going to... Is it more inward, like where more trees are, or...?
It's deeper within the forest.
Alright, then yes, I would like to go in further to try to take a look. But I want to keep hiding behind trees and, looking around them.
Roll a survival check with advantage, because the dog is kind of leading you there, but he's not fully tilted towards it. He was happy to find the bodies, but something about what he's tracking now seems to scare him almost.
Doesn't matter, I roll like shit. It was an 8.
The dog...
Smoke also, because he's there too.
Technically, I gave Reed advantage, because he...
Oh.
Nope. And advantage doesn't stack, so... you get advantage from the dog, advantage from Joseph Smoke. It is, unfortunately... You do hear the sound of thuds sort of getting closer to you, and you head in that direction. But eventually, perhaps you're moving too slow or you don't intercept it right. It seems like it's passed by you. You can actually hear it disappearing into the distance as you move forward. Likely you suspect you're moving perpendicular to its path and you just didn't intercept it at the right time. But you do come upon its tracks. Surprisingly minimal in a way. You see what appears to be a large, maybe 8 to 10 foot long track in the ground. Three-toed, buried fairly shallowly within the ground. Not so shallowly that you can't see it, but for its size, extremely
It seems
surprising.
peculiar.
And also, none of the plants themselves seem to have been disturbed, really. Even the undergrowth, for the most part, is quite alright, as if it was carefully stepping between the various plants and trees, avoiding them. Even so, the path is fairly clear. And you're able to you can follow it forward, trying to catch up with it or follow it backwards.
I think we already missed our chance to take a look at it without being seen, so I think we should just
we do what we came to
continue
do.
to follow
and go
forward.
home. Or back to the inn, at least.
You can go back to the inn. I wish to see what this... whatever it is that made these tracks is.
With just two of us, that's not a good idea.
I will be safe. Just because I wish to take a look does not mean we have to fight this thing.
That does not mean it has the same idea. I understand what you're trying to do. I'm advising you against it.
And I have taken it under consideration. If there is something that out here,
nuts.
if there is something out here, then we must learn what it is for the safety of the town.
Goodbye, Reed. I summon Steed, and I go back to the town.
ETFO.
Wow.
Hey, that ain't a bad idea.
I missed the context, so I was just curious.
I have found the tracks of something that seems rather large, leaving 8 to 10 foot footprints, but they are very shallow. So it seems like a large thing that is also very light and seems to purposely not be touching the, like, flowers. So, I'm going to go see it. He's going back to town to go talk to you guys.
One of you's not retarded, and the other one's named Reed.
Not me. Me guys is drinking an off-brand margarita in a bottle and having a fucking great old time with Aruna.
Alright, Reed, give me a survival check with advantage. Joseph Smoke.
Look at the dog.
Perhaps, yeah, it's advantage because of the dog.
Fuck! 11.
About smoke.
Joseph Smoke, perhaps knowing that caution may be the better part of wisdom, sort of turns and heads back. But the bold and the daring are the real winners, as Reed heads onwards. He who dares.
He who dares also ends up dead.
Yes, curiosity does indeed kill the cat.
Or the midget in this case.
You head back out of the woods, Joseph Smoke, and it seems like the farther you head out of the woods, the more towards town and towards the edge of the woods, the easier the travel becomes, and the more straightforward it becomes. It becomes less dense. The trees everything seems more straightforward. It seems like as you leave this wood, it becomes less maze-like and more straightforward.
Yay.
Reed, as you, with the help of the dog, move forward, said it's not hard to follow this path. It's surprisingly faint. But you do eventually see off in the distance, or you hear off in the distance this low thud footfalls as you sort of quickly move forward as fast as you can. And eventually, after traveling for quite some time trying to catch up, you see the what appears to be a hut that has two very large legs that resemble a chicken's legs, although it has technically only three toes, two in the front and one in the back. Sort of strides forward through the trees. The trees themselves seem surprisingly undisturbed as it carefully makes its way through them, disappearing what appears to be in sort of southwest.
Alright. That is an interesting thing. But since it's just a hut with legs, it doesn't seem very combat-oriented.
You realize that a hut is bigger than you are, and adding legs to it means it's ever so much bigger than you are, and you're still very small. It could be stepped
Hut was already taller than you. Hut with legs is even taller.
Now it's an AT-AT. Well, ATST, I guess.
TST. Sir.
It's moving
I wish
pretty
to get
fastly
closer.
too.
Eh.
It's got a very long stride, but it's moving cautiously through the underbrush. You will be able to catch up with it, but it's going to probably be fairly dark whenever you do so. Perhaps into dusk. You'll likely be caught out after dark, even so. Reed ain't no bitch. As you sort of...
I mean, I'm assuming if I went back to the town right now, I'd be back before dark.
Maybe as it's getting dark completely dark. If you continue following the hut, it's going to be late, well after. You'll be in the woods well after dark.
I'll head back. I was just checking to see that it wasn't something threatening, but it doesn't seem to be providing any great danger right now, at least. Especially with it, you know, paying so attention not to disturb it's flora. The flora.
It has seemed to show some reasonable respect for nature, at the very least. It continues onwards and you turn away, knowing that you probably would not really completely catch it before then. Before darkness, and you'd be stuck out in the wilderness. After dark, you kind of head away.
Damn these stubby halfling legs.
Like I said, it's got a hell of a stride, so that's what it is. Meanwhile, Ito, Aruna, we're back to your scene with Aruna standing kind of dazed. Aruna, you've had something of a your first real kind of archfey order. A mask, her visage for you to wear.
Does Aruna appear injured?
No.
I'm bleed. Well, I guess my hand. Did she heal my hand afterwards, or did it like close back up or anything crazy?
Look at your hand. You hold it up.
Oh!
There's nothing there.
That's great. A mask, huh?
At the moment, does Aruna... Is she cognizant that I'm present?
Ita?
Because I slapped her across the face.
Yeah. Don't worry, I know you're there. Well, this is gonna be a real awkward conversation. And I was kind of hoping nobody'd be around for it. Can I go over... Or is there, like, loose wood on the ground or anything?
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
fairly big chunks?
Sure.
I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna burn a spell to cast Fabricate and try to make a hag mask,
Nice.
like with her face, and that takes
Not-
me a considerable amount of time.
Not to interrupt that entirely, but if you were to open your eyes, the first thing of wood that you would see would be Ito's harp.
I'm not
Just
gonna.
saying.
I'm not gonna
It's just
take
a
Ito's
regular-
harp.
I don't know how that would
Ito's-
carve into a mask.
It's Ito's hard penis.
Yeah. Let me look at this sick new Fabricate spell that I have real quick.
I also wanted to cast a new spell, but you told me you were aware of my presence.
Yeah. So it's 10-minute cast time. It's just verbal somatic, and if I have the materials and it's within reason, I can craft it.
Okay.
And that is 4th level. Which I can do this. Nope, or it's not. Gonna do it.
Just on a lark, can I throw out some divine sense? Any celestials, fiends, or undeads?
Yes. And no, you don't see any celestial fiends or undead.
It doesn't seem to say the range, which is odd.
I thought detect
About
echoes was
60
like a
feet.
mile.
60 feet.
Even so, nothing. And it's specifically celestial fiends and undeads. Fortunately,
Those are the 3 that it lists.
don't
Yeah.
sense any of them.
Feels bad. Yeah, I'm just gonna sit there and wave my hand over that piece of wood, and I guess it's kind of like magic whittling almost.
Ito, you look over her shoulder as she takes what appears to be like a massive piece of, it looks almost like bark of a very large oak that's been stripped off. Using her magic carefully begins shaping it, and you can see it almost seems to mold to her hands, and this whole time she has this glazed look in her eye, and even when you say her name, it's like she's not even paying attention to you.
If I see her being industrious, I would sit and keep watch around her surroundings. Since she appears to be ignoring me, I would try and keep vigil.
Okay. Roll a perception check.
12.
You see, just a couple of, you do see what appears to be, they almost look like, some sort of faint, a cat that has a faint shadow and large tendrils that seems to stick out of its shoulders, but it gives a wide berth to the area, as if it avoids it.
How big is that cat?
It's a fairly sizable cat.
Dislike.
And,
I was intrigued. Connor is terrified.
I mean, it is a,
Dislike
very,
greatly.
very sizable cat, maybe, 8, 9 feet long.
Oh, no, I know exactly what that is.
But it almost seems to avoid you. It stays out of the clearing and sort of keeps its distance as Aruna continues to carve.
And from Ito's, because I know exactly what that is. From Ito's mindset, he sees a cat with some extra appendages.
Yes,
And
with
he
a
has
with a
no
almost,
idea what that
almost like an echo that moves with it.
Oh, that's not what I thought. No.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I know exactly what that is. I don't like it.
But it avoids you. Perhaps,
Oh, they're monstrosities, aren't they? That's why that wouldn't work. Okay.
perhaps, no. It's something like almost like consecrated ground compare for it or something like that. But it does skirt the clearing that you're watching Garuna in, and it eventually disappears back into the darkness of the woods. As Aruna finishes her mask, and as you look over her shoulder, Ito, it is not an attractive mask. It's actually almost hideous. A face of an elderly woman with a twisted grin and a hooked nose. 2 eye holes that have been cut out. Some of the bark still remains on it in places, giving it a very rough look, and it's actually relatively roughly carved, but there's like a single pebble that has been used to make a crooked tooth that sticks out over its grin. But to you, Aruna, it's perfect. It's an exact likeness of this woman.
Okay.
Can I, is it quite detailed?
Yeah, it's like it's rough, but it's pretty detailed.
Did she say to don it or just to make it?
You suspect wearing it is part of it.
I figured as much. I'll do like the stupid like half on my head thing, like partially put it on, but not put it on all the way yet.
Oh no, an anime girl.
Alright.
Yes.
If I could, I want to stand up next to her, and I want to ask, even though I know she's kind of oblivious to me, and I'll be like, "Hey, are you sure you want to do that?"
I'll stick my hands out towards Ito, like open palms.
I'm standing right next to you. So.
Okay, I'm still gonna like put my hands out, like Ito. This is gonna be your choice, and you have to make it now. Are you coming with me, or are you not?
I mean, nobody else is around. Sure, yeah, let's go.
Okay. If he grabs my hands, I'll planar shift to the Feywild.
Ito grabs the titty.
Excellent. Yep. I'll burn a 5th level and go to the Feywild.
Alright. Ito, the world seems to warp around you as the green trees and the sort of sunlit the sky disappears. The sort of faint orangish sky of a dusk as the sun sets on the material plane. You feel yourself sucked forward, pulled at the navel, clutching desperately to Aruna's hand. You find that you almost keel over as you seem to be standing in a identical grove, but as you look up, the sky is completely black with a moon above, and the trees themselves lack the foliage. They appear to be dead, dark, as if in the depths of winter. A faint chill sort of fills the air, and you can see as you exhale, your mouth is, you're able to perceive it's cold here. And off in the distance, you can see faint clouds beginning to form. Snow come as Aruna has plane shifted you into the Feywild, specifically to the Winter Court. And that is where we will end it.